Hello, everybody. Thank you again for joining me on yet another Dell teardown. This is a Dell Precision T 1700. I believe this was the higher line, just under the XPS line of Dell desktops. We're going to do a tour and find out about it as we tear it down. So join me for the tour. The Dell Precision T 1700 CD-ROM drive there at the top, memory card reader with all the indicators of what cards go where. 4 USB ports right on the front below the 2 audio ports, Dell logo, and Intel Core i5. We'll see what model of i5 that is. Around the back here, nothing on the side, but the back, power supply at the top with the button to reset it. There's the service tag and service code. 2 PS2 ports, again, green for the mouse, purple for keyboard. There's 2 USB and an Ethernet port. There's 2 display port. I think that's the first time we see 2 display ports on the back of a system. There's the Windows 8 Pro logo. 4 more USB ports. These that say SS on them are the 3.0, even though they're not blue, which is interesting. A serial port, VGA, and only 2 audio ports, which is somewhat interesting. Empty base slots tells me I bet this had a video card in it that has been removed. You come to the side. This has this kind of a door on it to open the case. So let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, here's the door. Open it up. It slides right up like that. That's interesting. ME disabled 3. I have no idea what that means. Maybe I'll have to look it up. Inside, we see the blue connectors here that hold in drives. Let's pull the front faceplate off. Again, another clean system, nearly a speck of dust. So 2, is there 2 in there? Let's see, we hold this forward. Yes, there are. Let's pull the cables out of them first. Or no, this one is the multi-card reader that is in the second CD-ROM base slot. Look at that. Interesting. But there's a closer look at that. And this cable probably pulls right out of the back, or not. We'll cut it if we have to. CD-ROM drive, same thing, pull that down. CD-ROM drive comes right out. Let's see if there is a disk in here. Oh, that did not open. There we go. Nope, no disk. Well, let's check out a date. March 2015. So how about that? There's a HL data storage, multi-DVD writer. There's model. There you go. Manufacturer date. Everything else. All right. Here's the hard drive. Disconnect those cables. And again, a nice, easy squeeze. And this comes right out. This comes off easy as well, I believe. I would think it would. Those aren't screws. They're just pins, I believe. Okay. Yep, there it goes. Just had to do it right. Okay. There you go. So that comes off. 1 terabyte Seagate hard disk drive. There you go for information on that. Let's see, we have RAM here. Let's go ahead and get the RAM out. 2 sticks of RAM and 4 slots available. These are 4 gig each, 8 gig of RAM. That's somewhat impressive. PC3 12800U. That's been a common speed of RAM we've seen out of these systems. But 8 gig of RAM right there. Let's see, let's get the power supply out. Let's get it disconnected here. Interesting connection here for the power supply. See if we can get these cables here. Yeah, these cables are annoying. Okay, they're all wrapped in together there. And then this one. Okay, that goes to the drives. Let's do as well. Ugh. Okay, there, power supply. Interesting, it does not have the standard wide connector, so that's somewhat interesting. Let's get the power supply out, then I'll show you the details on it. And it doesn't come out. You should know why now that it does not just slide out. There's a blue tab in there. I hope you can see that. The push on that, then it slides forward a little bit, and then it comes right out. Oh, so an 80 plus gold from Dell. That's somewhat impressive. Dell manufacturer. Wattage, 365 watt max power. Somewhat interesting. It's a good looking power supply, but these connectors, the first time we've seen that, to where it doesn't have the standard wide connector to go into the motherboard. So we have all these connectors. Let's disconnect. If this has a screw on it, it does not. The front panel connectors here. See if that slides one way or the other. It does. So there's, I believe this is our first USB 3 port like that goes to the front. So these were all USB 3, I believe. Interesting. And then that would be the audio. This flat one here is for the audio connectors. And that's that. We have a little speaker right here. These were always handy for beep codes, but the connector is somewhat unique. But little speaker there. Let's get the rest of these cables out of the way. What is this? I'm not sure what that is. All right, let's get the fan off the back. Well, look at that. No screws. It is just rubber type of connector, so we should be able to just yank that off of there. Ouch. It had a locking tab on the fan. Heaven forbid you don't want to pull the fan out accidentally. You certainly do not. But there's the case fan. Now we can get to the processor fan and heat sink. And again, locking tab on the fan to pull that out. Doesn't look too bad. Pretty dry. Let's see what the processor says. Well, it isn't going to say anything. We have to read it. But let's see what it shows us. I think we said on the front it was an i5. Let's see. Yes, i5 4400. We've seen that before as well. So there's the processor. All right, a little cable here that goes to the power button on the front. We'll get that out of there. Let's get the motherboard out here now that everything is disconnected from the motherboard. See, how many screws? You think 8 again? I believe that would be accurate. Let's see. Yep, that was it. 8 is the magic number today. Comes right out. Let's see. Anything interesting here? Not really. There's some numbers. There's the code of some sort. Nice of them to number the RAM slots. You would add them in that order, 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. No bad capacitors. Many solid states, but not all solid states. Interesting power connector. I'll say it again. That is interesting. There's the Dell information. Copyright 2009. Okay, there we got a date. Again, with the white around the back of the motherboard. That's somewhat interesting. Is that a date code? April 15? Not sure. Some other information there, or you can dig into that more if you like. XDP CPU. Yeah. Well, that's about all she wrote. Okay, let's see what we have. Let's do this again. Let me find my new favorite screwdriver for doing these processor fans. Yes, very nice. I just got to find an electric one to do this to make it quicker. But by the time I find one, I'm not going to be doing this anymore. I'm eventually going to run out of computers to do this with. Hopefully in the next week or two, I will not have any more to do. And then we will take that trip to the recycler and see what we get from each of our buckets of stuff. So there's the heat sink for the processor fan. Let's see if we can do anything with this. I believe that is held in there with a couple of screws. Let's see here. I think I see one here. That means there's probably one on this side. And it doesn't come out. How do I get that out of there? Is there another one? Yes, there is. I thought it would just be towards the top, but there is actually 4 screws holding this thing in. Then there's a bay transition from 5 1/4 to 3 1/2. Back in the day, you would need that. I would not see a need for it in today's world. But here's the card reader. Again, I guess I could, if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it, right? I don't think it's going to reach. No. You know what? That's good enough. It's a card reader. I'm just going to cut that cable off and be done with it. There. Done. Cables. Interesting. It had a connector like this in it. This went to the motherboard, and then you powered your drives off the motherboard. You know what? Let's get a closer look at that. This connected here, right beside where the power supply would connect. So the power supply would connect there, and there was no other power coming off the motherboard except, well, here's one of these. That went, yeah, interesting. Oh, this went to the video card. I bet this went to the video card. Remember, we've seen the open bay ports. This went to the video card. So the power supply went directly to the video card and to the motherboard, but not directly to the drives. The drive power cable came off the motherboard. Not sure what Dell was thinking, but they did what they did. So that explains that. Again, something new, something interesting I've not seen in a long time, probably since I've worked on these back, 2009 we said. So that's why that looked different. All right, let's cut these cables off the back of the power supply. Not as many to cut because there's not as many coming out of there. Okay, let's open up the power supply. Power supply, a couple screws here. A couple here. I believe that will be it. This comes out somehow. No. Interesting. Now it's got me thinking. Maybe these tabs here. Let's find a screwdriver. Ah, there we go. Just had to pry on it a bit. Okay. Inside of the power supply. Looks more compact as far as heat sinks. A lot of yellow tape, but not dirty. No bad capacitors. So there you be. Guess that is what it is. So what was interesting about this one? Power supply and the way it connected to the motherboard and the way the power for the drives came off the motherboard. Very interesting. Other than that, not much interesting. I will cut these cables off of here. I'll do that for you here before we go. So we have our cables right here, motherboard, fan, hard drive. 8 gig of RAM was somewhat interesting. That's a lot for an older system, but is what it is. There's our fans. We'll put them together. I got 2 fans, at least. If you're a fan, hit the like button. And again, thank you for joining me today on this quick teardown. And look forward to catching you on the next one. Check out my other videos if you like. I'd appreciate it just to see where this may go. So again, thanks for watching, everybody.